this is Joe-Lewkowicz with Coldwell-Banker Realty, and this is our monthly live stream where I answer questions about the market, the real estate market in Northwest Tampa, and kind of give us a brief overview of what's happening. So as we speak, today is April 4th, and the market is now at the beginning of what we call the summer selling season. So our market generally improves March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Once school starts, we're going to lose the market a little bit, but all the way now from April, May, June, great time to put a house on the market if you've been considering that. Interest rates are not going up. The Federal Reserve has decided not to raise the interest rates, which means that mortgage rates that had anticipated going upwards have now moved back by almost 0.5%. So there's a lot of buyer activity out in the market. Prices have moved up almost 5% since last year, depending on the section. Let's say if you're in Old Carrollwood, Carrollwood Village Phase 1 or so, that's gone up a lot. West Chase has gone up a lot. Areas like Cheval have done very well. Areas Pasco County, not quite as much, about 3%, 4% for the last year. And again, going back to Carrollwood, probably 6, 7, 8% for some of those houses. A lot of demand for houses that are closer into town, like Old Carrollwood, for example, sells to a lot of people who either grew up in the area or don't want to spend the kind of money that you're going to pay in South Tampa, south of Kennedy. So where the prices are almost double what they are anywhere almost in North Tampa. As you get closer to Pasco County, say off of Lutz Lake Fern Road, Van Dyke Road, a lot of the houses are very reasonable compared to everywhere else, where you're talking about houses going for $130 a square foot that are built since 2010. So newer and good pricing, and just you get a lot of bang for the buck. A little bit further out, but still, people are looking to find attractive homes there. So with that said, I'm just going to get right into some questions that people may have sent through the time, and let's see what kind of answers we come up with for this area. Okay, when do mortgage payments start and how do they work? Okay, so that's a very interesting question. Many people think mortgages are paid ahead of time. They're actually paid after the fact. So in other words, if you took a $200,000 mortgage, and let's say that you closed on the 15th of April, your first payment's not going to be due. It's not going to be due May 1st. It's going to be due June 1st. The mortgage company is going to collect 15 days of prepaid interest to cover from April 15th to May 1st, and then charge you another whole month. So you're going to pay 45 days of interest in that mortgage payment when you start in June 1st. Now, not every mortgage company does that, but that's almost how all of them are set up. So the payments are generally due on the 1st. You pay them after the fact. Now, a lot of people, and I'm going to go into this, don't understand that their real estate taxes are paid afterwards. So like when you get your tax bill in November or December, you're paying, when the tax bill that comes out this coming November is going to be for 2019 property taxes, not 2020. And a lot of people don't understand that concept. So when you go to a closing, for example, you're going to owe tax even if you're escrowing your payments with your mortgage company. In other words, a lot of people pay principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So the mortgage company is escrowing for the taxes and insurance, and they'll pay that for you. But let's say we closed April 15th on a home. You're going to owe from the 1st of the year through April 15th, you're going to pay that to the buyer. About 3 or 4 weeks later, you're going to get sent a check by your mortgage company for all the balances that was in your escrow account, but you won't get it the day we close. So hopefully that helped a little bit on that question. Let's see if we got another one. When listing my home, how can I make it stand out from others? There's a couple of easy ways, a couple of harder ways. First off, make sure it's extremely clean. Okay, how you sell a house is not how you live there. You've just got to have it picked up. If you haven't painted it, paint it. Paint and carpet, especially paint, is cheap for the bang for the buck. In other words, you paint a room, if you've got bright blue, bright red, paint it a neutral color, okay? Neutral sells. Not everybody likes it, but it sells very well. Make sure your plants, your front yard looks good. Add a lot of mulch. Those are cheap fixes. Make sure that when you're getting photos done, somebody's using a professional. I see too many houses that somebody shot them with an iPhone. They think they're doing the people a favor, and and matter of fact, they don't even turn the iPhone so it's this way, and when they should be shooting that way. But really, what you should do is hire a professional photographer who will make the house stand out, because it's a crowded field, and candidly, people, I think they look at the first 6 pictures before they decide they're moving on. And there's also a way to set up pictures, and we study this all the time. How do you set them up so people look at the listing right then and want to look at it? So, next question. As a first-time home buyer, what can I do if I'm struggling to come up with a down payment? There's several different government programs that may be available, and if you want, just feel free to text me or, well, email me, and I'll be happy to get you a name of a couple of mortgage brokers that may know the current government programs. Sometimes you can borrow from a family member, but there's a lot of different ways to do it. But coming up, and that has been the challenge for our market for first-time home buyers, is coming up with a down payment. And in all of the real estate information that I see, that's been one of the biggest problems is first-time home buyers and being able to get a loan. So next question. Oh, what are the signs of an untrustworthy and unreliable real estate agent? Well, I run into this all the time. And the reason I say this, back in, I think it was 2013, 2014, we had approximately 4,000, maybe 5,000 agents in the Tampa Bay MLS system, the Greater Tampa Association of Realtors. I believe that number now is closer to 11 or 12,000. It means a lot of people have come into the business because the business looks good and they all think they can make there's money to be made at it. Some are going to end up being good and they study the market and they try and help everybody. Others aren't. But I sold a house last year where the guy tried, but he said, you can get hold of me between 12 and 1 or after 7, because he had another job. I'm sorry, this is a full-time job. I do this all day long. Generally, I answer my own phone, and I sell more houses than almost anybody that you can talk to. But it's important. These are big deals. You really need to have an agent that's on it all the time, knows the market, knows the local market, so they know what's going on. They can give you the best advice. So it's not just untrustworthy. That I don't run into that much, but people that are just so new they don't know what they're doing. And let's see if there's another question. How do I list my home, and where can I list it? Well, call me. That's probably going to be the best advice that I can give you, and I can tell you the ins and outs. We kind of go over how to price it. We kind of go over how to market it, talk about what your goals are going to be. And, I've advised some people, wait a little bit. I have some people that say, hey, I want to downsize. And I want to put my house on the market. And I say the biggest issue is going to be finding what you want to go to. So there's all that kind of thing that are involved in selling a home. So I say, just call me, go to my website, get hold of me, send me an email. I'm happy to get with you right away. See if we have one more question. How do you ask a seller to negotiate a price? Again, this is where having a great real estate agent makes a big difference. You also have to know the market. What is real for the market? What is real for the market today? In other words, as I started out the program and I said April, May, June, July are a great time to sell a house. The market is hot. People want to get settled in for school, especially right now. People being transferred are coming in April, May, June. They want to have their kids all set to school no later than July. By August, they're too late. Now, the people buying in July is actually a very strong sales month because people who should have done it earlier are panicking now and they're doing it. Okay? Now, that's the kind of information that an agent needs to know to negotiate. But with that said, a lot of houses are going to get sold this time of year. And prices are they higher now? Yes, they're going to be a little higher. Could you wait till October, November, December? Possibly, but a lot of buyers aren't willing to do. So my point is, you need to know the local market at any given time. So let's see if we have one last question. if real estate forecast is more of a seller's market, what advice do you have for home buyers and vice versa? Kind of what I just talked about. Right now, it's still a seller's market, but partly a lack of inventory, and partly one of the things I'd said earlier about first-time home buyers are having a hard time getting a loan. They're having a hard time finding the down payment to buy a place. And let me give an example. Our median price has gone up almost $50,000 to where I believe up in Northwest Tampa, it's almost $280,000. Okay, back in the day, when they had harder mortgages to get, that means if you were putting 10% down, you got to come up with $28,000. Now, there's a lot of FHA loans or 5% conventional loans, but that's still $14,000 plus loan closing costs, which can add another 3%, which can add another $8,000 to $9,000 to get into a house. So in other words, let's call it a $300,000 house, which in our market would be approximately 2,000 square feet with a pool. Okay, 250 or lower. Well, I just sold one. We just closed on one that was $230,000. Had a nice screen porch, no pool. Was built in 1987, but was in generally good shape. We listed it for $225 and it sold for $235 because the market was really strong, and it was about 1,600 square feet. Getting into that, the person who bought it put down 5%, okay, which was $12,000. They paid their own loan closing costs, so they came up with $20,000. Now, my point being is, at that kind of money, that's very hard. If you've got student loans, you've got other kinds of debts, you don't have a whole lot of cash saved, that's going with that last question, where do you come up with the down payment for that? And you're competing with a lot of other people because that's at the low price point that we're at. Now, this is what all this is causing is the market is not getting new people into it, and it's causing some of the higher priced homes not to sell, the very higher price, 7, 8, 9, 100,000 and above. They sit on the market a little bit longer. They've got to be a little bit more aggressive because the people buying it are move-up buyers. They haven't been able to sell their place. That's all the intricate things about that. Also, time of year. Remember, I just said April, May, June, July, best time to sell. October, November, December, January, early February, best time to buy. Less available, but prices are better at that time of year. If you can wait, that might be better. If you can't, and some people can't, it's a good time to do it. My rule of thumb is on a house, spend the most money that you can from a mortgage point of view that you're comfortable with. Buy what you like, okay? Don't just buy a best investment, partly because everybody's looking for the best investment. But if you don't like the house, you're going to move sooner than you should have. You're going to say, this doesn't work for me. Why did we do this? It was a good investment, and maybe you'll make a profit, but it's expensive to sell a house and expensive to buy, and you got to go through the moving process and do all of that. So buy what you really like, spend a little bit more than you thought you might have, and then go from there. And if you need any advice on this, feel free, email me, give me a call. I'm available, happy to talk to you, give you some advice on that. So that's all the time we have for today. And again, my name's Joe Lewkowicz, and with Coldwell-Banker, remember that nobody works harder to sell your home.